Howdy y'all, I'm back. This will be a follow-up to my earlier Etrex 20 user demo. Normally I would not come back and update you unless I felt that I misinformed you in some way, and unfortunately I did. After using the device extensively now for a while, I'm happy to say most of my review was spot on, which I cranked out in the first week I had it. Even some of the things I hadn't done, like installing routable maps, custom POIs, maps and routes, stuff like that, all worked great. Unfortunately, one thing has failed me completely, and that's geocaching. As I said in my review, this device is clearly designed to be a geocaching machine, and it does do a great job. Still designed to be a geocaching machine, but unfortunately a bug, and I believe it's in the software, is causing me tons of problems. This is known as the sticky issue. Ew. When I first started this review, I already had a GPS for geocaching. I was very happy with it. So I did a few geocaches in the review just to make sure it worked properly, and all of those were out in the open, and they worked just fine. After that, I used the device just to hike and bike and things like that. Unfortunately, my main GPS is now dead, and I decided to use the Etrex 20 as my main geocaching GPS. Almost immediately, I started noticing problems when I would go into the rough areas where there was cover, tree cover, or where I was off the beaten path a little bit, and I thought it was a GLONASS issue where this just wasn't getting good reception and the device was struggling. Well, after a lot of hunting and fishing and asking and foruming, I figured this thing out. Let me show you what happens. The device gets sticky. So let's power it on here. Found a nice clear area to do this. Street's blocked, so I won't get killed. I'm going to use that sign there as our pretend geocache. I'm going to apologize in advance. The view of the screens isn't really good today. I shot some video yesterday and it looked a lot better, but I used a non-Garmin device to compare it to, and then after some forethought I thought, hey, if I'm going to compare it to something, I might as well compare it to another Garmin device. So they're all powered up, ready to go. I've locked on this location. Be our pretend geocache. We're going to walk away from it 100, 200 feet. And we're going to head towards our pretend geocache. And here we go. About 140, 130 feet away. Both are reading correctly. Both are showing a speed of 3 miles an hour, something like that. At about 75 feet, I'm going to hit the brakes. And what I found was when I was out geocaching in the woods, I would usually stop and slow down. So you see I've stopped. Both devices registered 0. Now I'm going to creep away at about 1 mile an hour, 1.5 miles an hour. You'll notice that, hopefully you can read that, but the Etrex on the left is showing about 70 feet away, and it's not moving. You can't really see the map, but it's not moving either. The Fortrex, hey, it said we arrived at our destination, a little pop-up there. It says we're 23 feet away. It's reading perfectly. Both are reading the speed correctly. This tells me that the Etrex is getting the information it needs. It's just simply stuck. Still at 70. Now the Garmin just said, hey, you missed it, buddy. It was 4 feet back there. Again, Etrex, completely stuck. About 68, 67. Now, I've done this many different times in many different ways. I can keep walking at this speed and it will never recover unless I speed up. So I don't mean to bore anybody, but I wanted to just let this roll without any cuts or breaks in the video so you get an idea how this thing behaves. Right now I'm about 70 feet past and the Etrex hasn't moved. I'm going to slowly start picking up the pace here. If you watch, the Etrex 20 now says 64. I'm up about 2. Now about 2 miles an hour is where it starts to stutter forward. It doesn't want to jump forward, to where you actually are, but it'll kind of and step forward a little bit as you pick up speed. That 2 mile an hour is kind of the gate. That 20 just popped up and said you have arrived, which is normally 50 feet before the cache. Sorry, I gotta clear this stupid thing. It's really annoying. The Fortrex there pops up a little thing and says, beep, hey, you've arrived, and it goes away. This one you have to manually clear it. Annoying. Now you notice they're about 80 feet off of each other. I'm going to clip along here, see if I can't get up to a gallop over the 3, which seems to be the magical number. So not only does this thing stick, when it does stick, even if you didn't notice it was sticking, it will never recover fully. Here, I'll show you. I'm going to get up about as fast as I can go up this hill, which is 3.5, sometimes 4 miles an hour. You'll see that the Etrex never catches up. It doesn't matter what device I've compared it to. It's simply wrong. And if I turn the Etrex off and turn it back on, it'll show a completely different number. So it requires a reboot to completely recover from the sticky. This is unacceptable. Garmin and anyone who thinks this is acceptable has really low standards. This is annoying. Annoying. So hopefully that gave you an idea of how my device is acting up. So let's talk about some final thoughts here. If you check around and you talk to other people with the device, many can duplicate this exactly. Some can't duplicate it at all. What I do want is those that watched my review to know that this can possibly happen and to be aware. So if geocaching is your main charge for this device, would this bother you? If so, you might want to check your device straight out of the box. See if you can duplicate this. If you can't, hey, you're good to go. If you can, you'll have to decide if it's important enough to you. It's really hard to keep a pace above 3 when you're in the rough. It really is. One thing I will promise you, even though I'm not going to use my 20 for geocaching anymore, I will stay on top of this, and if it does get fixed via firmware update, I will post it here on this little video and let you know it's been fixed or the status of it. And Garmin, if you're listening, please fix this. Fortunately, there are many devices before the 10, 20, 30 line that also have this issue, and Garmin has done nothing about it, so my hopes aren't very high, but I will keep on this and let you know. Thanks for watching.